Hi, I'm Mike Ignatowski, the creator of the PurpleWolf basketball spreadsheet, the spreadsheet that aims to help you get more enjoyment out of your tabletop basketball projects by doing a lot of the work, if not all the work, of tracking your team and players' game stats and season stats, as well as team standings and schedules. By doing that, you'll get more time to play your games, have more fun, and maybe take on projects that you wouldn't otherwise take on. In this video, we're going to see what's new in PurpleWolf version 2.5. Version 2.5 is not jam-packed full of features. As you can see here is the short list, but I think it has enough to make it worthy of having a release. So let's look at a PurpleWolf spreadsheet and we'll go through each of these and see what it looks like. So feature number one, it talks about the score tracker chart, now having some new features on it with ties, lead changes, and such. So let's take a look at that. I have a project here with a game I just finished. You can see here, game between the 76 Warriors and the 71 Bucks. And what's new here is you can see here in this little table that the score tracker table now has the number of ties, the number of lead changes, and these next two are each team's biggest lead and when. So this V max, if you hold here, that's the largest lead for the visiting team and in what period, and similarly for the home team. So when you compute or generate the chart, it'll show those two items underneath the graph over on the right here. A couple other minor things is that this title is now smaller and this text that shows the teams and the scores is now bigger. So that's improvements to the chart tracker in version 2.5. Okay, let's look at the next two together. 2 and 3 have to do with stats and the score sheet. And this says that the PSS sheet is now tracking the season high stat values for each player, and the mouse over hover stats on the score sheet now shows some of those in season high stats. So let's first look at the stat sheet itself. I go to this, look at the player season stats. You'll see over here on the right, there's this new section. Again, so here's the blue are kind of the totals. This yellow here are the per game, and then there's a new section over here, the season high, and this butterscotch color here. And SH stands for season high, and you can see these are all the categories that it tracks for season highs. And then I guess the fun place where this is used is on the score sheet. And you'll see here, as long as you have the game option on to show the hover stats, like if I look at Phil Smith here, and you hover on it, it now adds that third row on the bottom of season highs and shows points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and minutes played. So you can see here in this game, Phil Smith scored 29. He set his new season high because he was 24. So that is the new season high stats. And just a reminder on those season high stats, as far as the hover stats go, remember you'll need to compute your season stats before you load your game into your score sheet if you want to have those season highs, make sure they're up to date. So that's the season high stat feature. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so I'll talk about 4 and 5 together because they both have to deal with overtime. And you can see here 4, it says on the score sheet, just improved handling of overtime periods. And 5 talks about a bug fix. And there were some cases where if you had the validate minutes played game option on, there were some cases where you'd get an error with that in an overtime period. So that's, I believe, is fixed. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about with the overtime. I have a different score sheet here where you can see I made up this game. It's unrealistic, but it was good for testing to show this game that went to 5 overtimes and 5 is the maximum number of overtimes that the PurpleWolf spreadsheet supports. So if you have to go farther than that, just keep playing. But 5 is the max. Anyway, so one of the things I fixed had to do with this, showing the minutes played in the period. And typically what this minutes played, the way it works now and should have worked before, but not always did it work, is if you hit this show hide minutes played per period, if you look here, when you click it once, it'll show the active period. So this is in overtime 5, so it shows OT 5 here. If you click it again, it'll show all the periods. And if you click it again, it shows none of them. So now that worked before with just the first 4 quarters, but it didn't work with all the overtime. So now it works properly. If your game goes into overtime, the show hide overtime minutes played works like it should. And as I said, the other feature or bug fix had to do with validating the minutes played when players had stats in the OTs where you could get an error. So that's what works now, is just better handling all of these overtime situations in Spreadsheet. One more comment I want to make about the overtime. This isn't really a new feature, but I want to show it, is having to do with the box score. So this is the same kind of made up game I have with the 5 overtimes. But if you go to the box score, excuse me, you'll see here on the scoreboard that the OT column will combine all the OT periods together. So it'll just, if there's only one OT, it'll just have OT with a dash. But if there's more than one, it'll just indicate how many overtime periods there were and add up all the points in them in this one column. So that's how the OT shows up in the box score. So anyway, that wraps up all the new features in 2.5, or at least all the significant ones. This is probably my shortest video ever, but hopefully you found this useful, and that 2.5 can make your PurpleWolf experience a little more fun. That wraps up this PurpleWolf basketball spreadsheet video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to box out.